The average kid today will witness more violence, cruelty, and casual meanness in a single month than a child from 30 years ago would see in an entire year. And most of it happens on a screen they're holding in their hand. Now, I'm not saying screens are making our kids mean. That's not it at all. But I am saying something important is happening that we need to talk about, because genuine empathy requires something that our current digital environment is actively working against. And if we don't understand what that is, we can't help our kids develop it. Think about the last time your child said something unkind to a friend online, or laughed at a mean comment in a group chat, or just scrolled past someone's real pain without even stopping. Did they seem cruel? Probably not. They probably seemed exactly like what they are, a kid who didn't actually register the human being on the other side of that screen. That's the paradox we're living in. Our kids are more connected than ever. They have access to billions of people. But connection and empathy are not the same thing at all. Here's what's really going on. When a child is typing a message, they're not seeing a face. They're not hearing a voice crack with sadness or seeing shoulders drop when they're hurt. The feedback loop that teaches empathy, the one that has kept humans emotionally intelligent for thousands of years, that loop is broken. A child can say something devastating and see nothing but a thumbs down emoji in response. No tears. No real consequence. No mirror reflecting back the impact of their words. And over time, that gap gets wider. The more time kids spend in this flattened, two-dimensional digital space, the harder it becomes for them to imagine the full human experience of another person. It's not that they don't care. It's that they literally don't see there's anything to care about. The person is abstract, hypothetical, not quite real in the way their own feelings are real. But here's where it gets interesting. Because empathy isn't some fixed trait that either exists or doesn't. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be taught, practiced, and strengthened, especially if we're intentional about it, and we start before screens become the default way your child relates to the world. I've watched families do this really well. And they don't do it by lecturing. They don't sit their kids down and say, "Think about how that person feels." That almost never works. Instead, they create the conditions where kids naturally practice empathy in real life, and then they help them transfer that understanding into the digital world. The first thing these families do is protect real-world face-to-face connection. I know that sounds simple, but it's actually radical in how it's done. They don't just hope it happens. They structure their lives so their kids still spend significant time with other people where eye contact is required, where they can't hide, where they have to navigate real complexity and emotion. This might be a sport. It might be a small group activity, a family dinner where phones are truly not present, time with a grandparent, volunteering somewhere. The specific activity doesn't matter nearly as much as this. It has to be regular. It has to involve real people and real stakes. And it has to happen enough that a child's nervous system gets used to reading and responding to genuine human emotion. When a child spends time with another human being face-to-face, something biological happens. Mirror neurons fire. Emotional resonance occurs naturally. They see the impact of their words and actions in real time. And over months and years, that repeated experience literally shapes how their brain processes other people's experiences. That's not magic. That's neurology. But the second part is where most parents get stuck. Because you can't keep screens away forever. And you shouldn't try. So the real skill is teaching kids to bring that face-to-face empathy into their digital lives. Picture this. Your child is about to send a text that's a little mean. They're frustrated. They're tired. And they just want to vent in a group chat. In that moment, there's a choice point. And what separates kids who maintain their empathy online from kids who don't is whether they've learned to pause and ask themselves one question. Would I say this to their face? That's it. That's the whole skill. If they wouldn't say it face to face, they shouldn't send it in a text. But here's the catch. Kids don't naturally ask themselves this question. Their impulse is to send the message, get the reaction, see what happens. So you have to teach them. And the way you teach it isn't by punishing them when they fail. It's by modeling it. It's by them hearing you pause when you're about to write something snarky in a group chat and say out loud, "Actually, I'm going to call her instead because I don't want her to misunderstand my tone." It's by them seeing you choose the harder path of direct communication over the easier path of venting to someone else. Kids are like emotional sponges. They absorb how you treat people, online and off. If they see you being kind when it's inconvenient, if they see you reaching out directly instead of complaining about someone in a group, if they see you assume good intent when you're confused by someone's message instead of assuming the worst, they will learn that. Not from one conversation, but over time, through countless small moments, they'll internalize that as their baseline. Now, there's another piece to this that doesn't get talked about enough. And it's about the kind of content kids are actually consuming on screens. Most kids are spending their screen time in spaces designed to provoke outrage, comparison, and judgment. It's not accidental. These platforms make money when kids feel something intensely, even if that feeling is anger or inadequacy or superiority over someone else. The algorithm doesn't care if that feeling is kind or cruel. It just cares that it's strong enough to make a kid click again and again. So if you're trying to teach empathy while your child is spending hours in these spaces, you're essentially trying to swim upstream. You can do it, but it requires real intentionality. Some families handle this by being very selective about where their kids spend their time online. Not censoring exactly, but being thoughtful. We don't do TikTok in our house because the comparison piece is hard on us. We use YouTube for educational content because the comment sections are usually kinder. Instagram is a no for now because we've seen how it affects your mental health. Other families take a different approach. They let their kids have access to these spaces, but they become active participants. Not in a creepy, spying way, but in a curious way. They ask their kids to show them what they're watching. They watch it together sometimes. They talk about what they notice about how people are being treated in these videos or comment sections. They help their kids notice the cruelty, name it, and talk about why it's there and what they want to do about it. That conversations looks something like this. A child shows a parent a video where people are being mocked. The parent doesn't immediately say, "That's mean, don't watch that." Instead, they say, "What do you notice about how people are treating each other here?" And then they wait. They let the kid think. Most of the time, the kid will notice it themselves. "Yeah, it's pretty harsh." And then the parent can ask, "How would that feel if it was you?" And suddenly, the empathy is there. The kid didn't need to be told. They needed to be asked. They needed to connect the dots themselves. If this is hitting home right now, if you're recognizing some of these patterns in your own family, there's actually a framework I've put together that walks through the specific conversations to have with your kids, not just about this, but about the whole digital world and how to keep their hearts open while they're navigating it. The free chapter is linked in the description, and it includes some conversation starters you can actually use this week with your kids, specific ways to notice when empathy is slipping, and how to rebuild it. It's not theoretical. It's the stuff that actually works with real kids in real families. But let me continue, because there's another dimension to this that matters. Teaching empathy isn't just about preventing cruelty. It's also about helping kids notice when someone around them needs help. And screens make this harder in a specific way. When a child is scrolling through social media, they might see a friend who posted something that's actually a cry for help. "Nobody likes me. I'm so tired of trying." Comments that, if you look past the casualness of the platform, are actually revealing real pain. But because these posts are surrounded by hundreds of other posts, because the response culture encourages quick jokes instead of real engagement, most kids scroll past. It's not that they're bad. It's that they don't know they're supposed to stop. But kids who have learned to practice empathy do stop. They notice something's different about that post. They reach out privately. They say something real instead of posting a heart emoji and moving on. And that skill, that ability to notice pain and respond to it, that's something that has to be taught and practiced just like any other skill. You teach it the same way you teach all empathy. You model it. When you notice someone you know is struggling, you respond. Not just online. In real life too. You say, "I noticed you seemed quiet today. Is everything okay?" You follow through. You remember. You ask again later. And your kids watch all of that. They see what it looks like to pay attention to someone else's emotional weather. You also teach it by creating a home where vulnerability is safe, where your kids can fall apart without you trying to fix it immediately. where sadness and struggle are normal parts of being human. Because kids who have only ever seen strength, who have only ever seen surfaces, who live in a house where everything has to look fine all the time, those kids have a much harder time recognizing pain in other people. They don't have the internal template for what struggle actually looks like. But kids who've seen you struggle and then recover, kids who know that hard feelings are temporary, kids who've been supported through their own sadness without being shamed for it, those kids can see pain in others and respond to it with actual compassion instead of discomfort or avoidance. Here's something else most parents don't consider. The way we talk about other people when our kids are listening matters enormously, more than we realize. If your child hears you gossiping about a neighbor, judging someone's parenting, making assumptions about someone's character based on limited information, that's what they learn empathy is not. It sounds like wisdom. It sounds like you're just saying what everyone knows. But what your child is actually learning is that it's okay to flatten people into caricatures. That it's fine to judge from a distance. That people are interesting primarily when they're failing or doing something wrong. And then that child goes onto social media and suddenly a stranger is doing something wrong, and the child thinks, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do now. I'm supposed to notice this and judge it and make jokes about it with my friends. But if your child hears you giving people the benefit of the doubt, if they hear you saying, I don't know the whole story, that person probably had reasons for doing that. If they hear you correcting yourself when you've been harsh about someone, if they hear you express genuine curiosity about why someone behaves a certain way instead of just condemning it, they learn a different version of empathy. They learn that people are complex. That context matters. That kindness includes not assuming the worst. That might sound like a small difference, but it's actually foundational. Now, I want to talk about something that's almost invisible but incredibly powerful. And it's about how we've structured our lives around speed and efficiency at the expense of boredom. Kids today are rarely bored. They have something to do, watch, or respond to at every moment. And while that sounds like a good thing, it's actually a problem for empathy development. Because empathy requires space. It requires your brain to wander and wonder about other people. It requires downtime where you're not being stimulated, so your mind naturally turns toward reflection and imagination. When a child is constantly engaged with content, constantly getting dopamine hits from notifications and likes and new videos, they don't have space in their brain for deep thinking about someone else's experience. The families who seem to be raising kids with strong empathy often have something in common. They protect boredom. They have car rides where phones aren't available. They have dinner times where there's nothing but conversation. They have afternoons where the kid isn't in an activity. And in that space, something shifts. Bored kids start asking questions. They start wondering. They start noticing small details about the people around them. They actually see each other. And that skill, that ability to be present and truly see another person, that's the foundation of all real empathy. I'm not saying you need to eliminate screens entirely, but I am saying that if every moment of your child's day is filled with stimulation, their capacity for empathy is going to be limited no matter what else you do. Think about what would happen if you gave your child just 1 hour a week where they had nothing but their own thoughts and the people around them. No phone, no tablet, no background noise, just being. Over months, you would see a shift in how they relate to others. You'd see them noticing things they didn't notice before. You'd see them asking deeper questions. You'd see them being kinder, not because you told them to be, but because they finally had the mental space to imagine what it feels like to be someone else. The last piece of this is understanding that empathy isn't the same as agreeing. And this distinction is crucial for raising kids in the digital age, because the internet conflates these two things constantly. You'll see discussions where someone disagrees with someone else, and immediately, the person who disagrees is labeled as heartless or cruel. And kids absorb this. They learn that if you don't agree with someone, you should be mean to them. That if someone is wrong, it's okay to attack them. That empathy means you have to accept everything someone believes. But real empathy is the opposite. Real empathy means you can disagree with someone completely and still see them as fully human. You can think someone's choices are wrong and still be curious about why they made those choices. You can have a completely different worldview and still treat that person with respect. Teaching your kids this distinction is maybe one of the most important things you can do, because this is how we heal the internet. This is how we move away from a culture of cruelty masquerading as justice. This is how we raise kids who are confident enough in their own values that they don't need to destroy someone else to feel right. In your home, you can practice this. You can disagree with your child about something, and instead of shutting them down, you can be curious. You can say, "I see it differently, but I'm interested in why you think that." You can model disagreeing with people you love. You can show your kids that conflict doesn't have to end in cruelty, that you can argue with someone and still respect them, that understanding someone is not the same as becoming them. And then, when your child goes online and sees discourse that's become personal attacks, when they see conversations that have devolved into name-calling, they'll have a template for something different. They'll know that it's possible to engage with someone's ideas without destroying the person. And that small piece of knowledge changes everything. At the end of the day, teaching kids empathy in an age of screens isn't about controlling what they see. It's about strengthening who they are in the real world so strongly that the digital world doesn't erode it. It's about giving them so much practice in seeing other people, in feeling their feelings, in treating them with kindness, that it becomes their default even when no one's watching. That's the real power. That's what actually sticks. The conversations matter. The modeling matters. The protected time together matters. The boredom matters. All of it builds toward a child who, even in a space designed to provoke cruelty, chooses kindness instead. Not because they've been told to, but because they've learned to see the human being on the other side of the screen. And once you see someone as fully human, it's almost impossible to be truly cruel to them. What part of this felt most true for your family? And more importantly, which one thing are you going to try this week? Leave that in the comments. I genuinely love to know what's working for you and what's not.